afternoon, everyone. My name is Caroline Passmore. I am the owner of CRP Specialists, Inc. and Bookkeeping is Fun, LLC. CRP Specialists is my client advisory firm where we do provide accounting services specializing in nonprofit organizations and the trades to ensure that their books are ready to be sent to their tax preparers. Of course, we'll help anyone who does need help because my other company, Bookkeeping is Fun, is where I coach those who are learning accounting and help them to overcome the fear of gaining clients and give them that experience and help them to gain confidence not only in themselves but in their skills. And I do this by giving them the opportunity to learn in a supervised live environment of actual books rather than just that learning environment that they get in most of those courses where they just get generally that cookie cutter environment that is all the different books that they get instead of just the actual client books that are so very different once they get into those client books, and then they get that fear of, oh my goodness, this is so very, very different. So today I'm going to share some quick tips to make your tax prep time a bit easier. Now we're going to cover some top tax deductions, record keeping tips, and common mistakes that you want to avoid. So let's dive in and set you up for a smooth tax season. So first I want to talk about deductions that can potentially save you some money. So first we have vehicle expenses. If you use your vehicle for work, then you can deduct either the mileage or the actual expenses. Now this is if you own the vehicle personally, rather than in your business. If you own the vehicle through your business, that's a whole different issue. But that's something you talk about through your with your tax preparer. So those are again, I will mention this probably a bajillion times through this discussion, that there are things that I want you to definitely talk with and discuss with your tax preparer specifically. Now, then there's tools and equipment. The cost of tools and equipment that you use specifically for your trade, those are deductible as well. Then if you have a home office, if you have a dedicated space, I'm going to say that again, a dedicated space at home that is used for business, and it is used only for business. You can't use it, for business/crafts. It has to be dedicated for business only. Then you might qualify for a deduction. Now, this one, of course, will depend on your business entity. So make sure that you discuss this again with your tax preparer so that you can they can help you to make that decision on whether that home office is a business deduction and how it can be deducted. Then there's work clothes and protective gear. Specialized work clothes and safety equipment are often deductible. Now again, this is very specific. So make sure that you discuss this with your tax preparer to find out exactly what types of clothing and protective equipment is deductible and what is not. Then there's insurance premiums. Deduct premiums for business-related insurance policies. Now I want to reiterate that I said business-related insurance. So then there's professional development. Costs for courses and certifications to improve your skills are deductible. And it's extremely important that you continue to improve your skills related to your trades. Now remember, always, always, always keep receipts for these expenses. It is better to have too much documentation than not enough. And speaking of documentation, staying organized throughout the year, you can save yourselves a lot of headaches come tax time. So use a separate bank account. I can't stress this enough, and I probably have said this a bajillion times throughout these conversations that I've had with you guys, that this makes it easier to track business income and expenses. Then we want to keep a mileage log. Regardless of whether you're using a personal vehicle or a business vehicle, you want to keep a mileage log. Record the dates, the destination, the purpose, and the miles driven for each business trip. Or use one of the apps out there that help to track the mileage for you. I personally use MileIQ. I jokingly call it the dating app for mileage. And the reason I call it the dating app for mileage is I swipe right for personal mileage and I swipe left for business mileage. Simple as that. Because I don't want things to be complicated when it comes to tracking my miles. And that's why I use MileIQ. It's inexpensive and it's a tax deduction. So then you want to use a digital file system to capture your receipts. Take photos of those receipts and store them in a cloud-based folder. There is a multitude of applications out there to capture those receipts. It really does not matter which one you use, just use one of them. Keep those receipts and store them. Set aside just a few minutes each week and spend 15 to 30 minutes organizing those receipts and updating your records. That's all it takes. Doesn't really matter. Use some kind of an accounting system. Really doesn't matter which one you use, whether you use QuickBooks, whether you use Xero, Wave, FreshBooks, Zoho. There's so many accounting softwares out there. Whatever the case may be, just use an accounting software so that you can track your income and expenses. Please. Though this is so very important. If you are in business, please use an accounting software to track your business income and expenses. Then, when you receive those contractor forms, whether you're receiving a W-9 throughout the year, which you should be getting W-9s from any subcontractor that you work with throughout the year, if you are working with any subcontractors, then any of those 1099s that you receive from any subcontractor that you have worked with at the end of the year, make sure that you're holding on to them and putting them in a safe place. Because any of those 1099s or the W-9s that you've received that you need to send a 1099 to at the end of the year, because if any of those that you've received a W-9 from that qualify for you to send a 1099 to, that you've paid over $600 to at the end of the year, you'll need to send that 1099. And any of those 1099s that you've received money from at the end of the year, then you need to report that on your taxes. Now, by staying on top of your record keeping throughout the year, you will be much more prepared when your tax season rolls around. So now we're going to talk about some common mistakes and how to avoid them. Missing deadlines. That is a big one. So make sure that you are marking all of the important tax dates and deadlines on your calendar and set reminders. It's so important. Now, something I know happens probably more often than not, and that is forgetting to report all of your income. You want to report all of your income on your tax return. Even if you didn't get a 1099 form from someone, you really have to report the income regardless. Just because you didn't receive a 1099 does not mean that you don't report the income. That income was still received, so that income needs to be reported. Just saying. One of the big issues I see that happens a lot, and it's very frustrating for those of us that handle the books, is mixing personal and business expenses. You want to keep these separate to avoid a lot of confusion. I just can't stress this enough and how important this is. It also really exposes you to a potential audit. I just don't, and that's the last thing I would ever want you to be exposed to. And then there's that overlooking any potential deductions. You want to really review the list of possible deductions each year to make sure that you are not missing any important deductions that you could potentially get. Because the more deductions you get, the better off it is for your taxes. Then, something I do see a lot is people not setting aside any money to pay for your taxes. And then you end up with a really high tax bill and that you didn't expect, and that's just really setting yourself up for failure. We don't want to set yourself up that way. Set aside a portion of each payment that you receive to pay for your taxes, because inevitably that's going to happen. You're going to have to pay taxes. Then trying to do it all yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help from a professional if you're unsure about something. Now, I keep mentioning to get advice from your tax professional for some things. That's because each situation is different. Each business is different. If you have someone who you work with on a regular basis and knows your business, then they're the person that you should consult with when you're unsure of what to do in most circumstances. And if that person who handles your taxes and the person who handles your books work closely together, you really do have a win-win situation. Now, avoiding these common pitfalls, then you'll be in a much better position come tax time. So just to wrap things up, here's a few final tips for a smooth tax season. Gather all of your documents early. Don't wait until the last minute to start collecting your paperwork. Double check your math. Simple calculation errors can cause big problems. Keep copies of everything. Make sure that you have copies of all of the documents that you submit. Then file electronically. It's truly faster, more secure, and you'll get your refund faster if you're due one. Now, just want to remind you all that if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And if you are not aware that we had a YouTube channel, go visit us on YouTube and subscribe now at CRP Specialists today. So we here at CRP Specialists understand the unique challenges faced by skilled trades professionals when it comes to taxes and bookkeeping. Our team of experts can help you to implement these strategies and provide ongoing support to keep your finances in order year-round. We offer personalized advice tailored to your specific trade and business needs. Don't let tax preparation stress you out or take time away from your work. Schedule a free consultation with us today to discuss how we can answer your questions and assist you with your tax or accounting needs. Let's work together to make this tax season the smoothest yet. Let us manage your money while you manage your business. I hope you all have an amazing day.